Welcome to the second episode of the Warframe Ninja podcast. I'm BritishBob, your host, and today I have with me RiverRat
Hello.
and Ossym,
Hello.
both of who were with me on previous episode. Just a quick advertisement for our clan that we're all in. We're from Angels of Death. You can find us on the Warframe forums or at our site, clanaod.net. And with that, I think we're away.
Wake up,
So I think the biggest addition recently has been the syndicate primaries. We got ourselves a few nice new weapons to play about with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's nice having something new. It's a nice, fresh kind of refresher on the game.
Do you think they picked the best weapons for it?
I like some of them. I don't understand a couple of them, just based on what we have in the game already. I like the Simulor. They fixed a lot of the issues that I had with it before, just not having any range. So it's a lot better now. It's a valuable weapon to have, especially for mobbing. So I mean, it works really, really well in infested, and just kind of stuff where everything's packed in really, really tight.
I know you were saying earlier during the week when they released it, you were saying that it's a lot like a Penta in some ways.
It's a lot like a Penta. I also find it kind of like the Toncore in a way as well. It's kind of a weird setup where it's kind of a grenade launcher feel, but it's not like affected by gravity at all. So you can kind of throw orbs out and create little vortexes, but the AoE on it now is a lot better. And
So
with the damage, it really helps.
have you gone back to the original Simulator since they made the Syndicate one? I mean, is the old Simulator, is that thing still a piece of crap, or
I have gone back and tried it, and we had one person that accidentally equipped it instead of the Syndicate Simulator, and you could definitely tell a difference. The Synoid Simulator is a vast improvement on the other one. The other one is just, I think, too situational because it just doesn't have enough range, in my opinion.
Yeah, I haven't personally had the opportunity to try it. I mean, I've been in our TeamSpeak channels, and there's been a couple of our members that have obviously gotten it, and I've heard nothing but praise on it. But I'm extremely surprised. I haven't tried it out yet, but I'm looking forward to trying it out once I get the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, the thing for me, in particular with the Simulor, is the fact that the original one's so difficult to get. It's not necessarily difficult, it's just tedious, I think.
Yeah,
So,
and the return you get out of it isn't really worth the effort it is to get it.
it certainly isn't now, because I can just trade somebody in our clan for, I'm running Red Val and the other one, Steel Meridian. So I can trade someone the Cernos or the Heck for the Simulor, the Syndicate Simulor, and I don't need to go to the original one when I have the upgraded version.
Yeah, but you're gonna need it for mastery points anyways. I mean, it's really a matter of, it's not complicated to get it, as long as you have your synthesis scanner. What I normally do to knock out all my synthesis points with Samaron, whatever his name is, I just, I grab Loki. I got a 33-second invis on him. I just hop into a mission. I go invisible, and then I equipped the synthesis scanner, and I get stealth scans on everything. So I scan one target, and then I just kill him immediately afterwards, and then I go to the next target, scan him, kill him, and then I just keep repeating that process until that's over. And each time I scan somebody, it's 218 points.
Yeah, you could get a couple thousand standing out of one mission pretty easily.
Yeah, normally I'm able to get, if I'm kind of rushing through it and just like scanning and killing, I can normally walk away from one mission with 17,000 rep points for Cephalon Samaris. I'm limited to 21k a day, just because the rep standing for it's got to refresh. But I think you need 75,000 rep points for Samaris in order to
Yeah.
get the blueprint. So you're looking at, I would say 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes at most worth of work for 3 days, and the blueprint is yours right there. I mean, it's really not that bad.
I suppose it's a personal thing, isn't it? I don't really like scanning stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely it's not for everyone. I'm personally not a scanner, but just because I'm a completionist, I kind of suffer through it just to get all that stuff.
Yeah, going back to the syndicate weapons, the heck, I didn't like it first. I didn't see the point of having it since we already had the heck with the augment, and it gave us the AOE. But the way that they did it, I think, was really nice. So that now, basically, with the new Vacor heck, it's more of a sustained damage crit weapon, whereas the old heck was more of a burst elemental. So now you can get the same weapon and kind of have two completely different playstyles with it, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Is it a
And
bit
also,
like the Latron series with the Wraith and the Prime?
A little bit, yeah. It's different. It's a little bit better for like a raid weapon because it's more sustained. I know I was talking with Stoybot, one of our other trainers, and he was running it in a raid, and they had a bunch of people with the Vacor Hex, and it just uh, shredded the boss. So I mean, it's a really really powerful weapon. I kind of like the way that they took it a different way than the original one.
I suppose the Boltor's also in a similar situation as the Heck, isn't it? Because it's the Boltor Prime and the Syndicate Boltor now.
Yeah, going back, yeah. I mean, that's the one that I personally am most confused on because we have a normal version and then we have a Prime version and now we have a Syndicate version of it, and they all do kind of sort of different things. So it's really
before we get on the Boltor, I just want to. I mean, I don't have the Boltor. I'm on the other side of the Syndicate, so I have the Cernos, I have the Penta, and I have the Tigris. But did I read that correctly? That the mod for the Vacor mech heck is it doesn't support the Vacor heck, or what?
yeah, it's not equipable on the Vacor.
Why did they do that?
It's just because it already has the AoE, so you can't really add another Justice. I think Justice is the augment
Justice.
for it.
Oh, okay.
You can't add another one on there because you would get double procs or it would go off twice as often.
I guess that makes sense.
And yeah, it's for the multi-shot. Having 8 shots in a clip with a shotgun that has close to 350% total multi-shot is kind of sort of overpowered. So I could see, I understand why they didn't put it on. It definitely doesn't need it.
It was intentional, not putting it on.
Yeah, I mean, now that I know that, that makes sense. I mean, I can't have the double proc on there. That would be ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because even, I mean, without it, Stoy ran the numbers and he got it up to about anywhere from 70 to 80,000 sustained DPS, which is a lot for a sustained DPS build. So it definitely doesn't need that multi-shot. It can survive just as well on its own.
Oh yeah. So, have you guys tried out the Boltor? Or the Syndicate Boltor, I guess I should say?
I have. I haven't formatted out yet. And I don't think I'm going to. I'm not a huge fan of the Boltor or the Boltor Prime to begin with. And this one just seemed kind of lackluster. The only thing that I can think of that would save it for me would be the Syndicate proc, because that toxin damage is incredibly strong. But the extended clip with lesser damage, it doesn't really seem like it's worth the effort to me. Being someone who goes, I mean, as much damage with as little ammo as possible, a size of a clip isn't really an issue for me. So I want more damage, not more ammo.
Yeah, I don't use I didn't like the original Boltor. I mean, I did when I was low mastery level and didn't have any primaries. I mean, it's a good weapon to start out with, but once I moved on to the Bolter Prime, I did enjoy that gun very much. But I'm hesitant to invest in the Boltor syndicate weapon just other than anything other than mastery fodder.
I think I'd have to agree with you. I haven't got the only syndicate weapon I've got at the moment is the Heck, mainly because I haven't started trading yet. But looking at the stats, the Boltor doesn't offer anything better than the primed version, except for the increased clip. It has lower. Let me bring it up on the wiki a second.
I think in mission, once it's formatted out, it'll be pretty comparable to the Bolter Prime, in terms of like total DPS, but it's only because of that AOE proc. You're getting you're sacrificing aiming damage for AOE damage, and that's kind of the trade-off you have to get with that guy.
Yeah, it's got lower base damage by 5. It's got a lower status chance, which is quite a big thing, from 10 to 7.5. And it's got a slower rate of fire as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the killer for me would be the slower projectile speed.
Yeah. So that's really the only one that I was kind of confused about. I would much rather see, I know, because if they're doing the whole puncture weapon series with Steel Meridian, the Boltor does make sense with the Telesac Boltos and now the Telos Boltor, and then if they add melees, I would expect the Boltace to be in there. But I think they could have done a better weapon to put in there instead.
Yeah, we already have, the Boltor Prime and the regular Boltor. I don't know. I think that there could have been a better choice, but I'm with you on that one. But it is what it is, and it's going to be mastery fodder for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we'll move on to the other syndicate side. What do you guys think of the Tigress? The Sanctum Tigress, I should say.
I have fallen in love with it. It and the Cernos are now my two main weapons. I've completely dropped the Dread, the Paris, and the Vectis. Just completely. Those two are my two main.
Yeah, it's hard for me. Like I said in the last episode, I'm not a shotgun guy. I've never been a shotgun guy. The thing that's hard for me to get over is the shot action, the way it fires, where you press down your shoot button and it lets one go, and then you let go, and then it lets the next bullet go, and then it's all automatically to reload. And it's like, I could see it being very useful especially with your build. You got how much damage on that thing now?
I think I got it up to about, without adding crit damage, 105,000 burst DPS. So over the span of the two shots, you're over 100,000 damage if you land every pellet.
Yeah, that's definitely an assassination weapon. I mean, that's the prime example of what you want for an assassination mission. But if you're doing a survival or if you're doing a defense mission, I don't see it being feasible, unless if you're used to shotguns and you're used to reloading a lot. It might, that might be your play style.
Yeah,
it's not mine.
Yeah, coming from somebody that used the bows and love charge weapons, so a lot of time with the Vectis, a lot of time with the Dragoon, the Opticore, and bows. I'm used to that time between killing, where you're kind of waiting for the weapon to reload or reset. So that reload doesn't really bother me too much, and it's nice that they reduced it a little bit. I think they brought it down from 1.8 to 1.5 reload. So it's a slightly bit quicker.
Yeah.
Of course, there is one weapon where they've almost reduced that entirely.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cernos.
The Cernos.
It is amazing. Like I was a big fan of the Dread. I am a big fan of the Dread. I was a big fan of the Paris until I got the Dread, or Paris Prime until I got the Dread. But now with the Cernos, that is definitely my new favorite bow.
Mhm.
I don't
And
have to put any
yeah,
speed trigger, vial acceleration. I don't need to put any of that stuff in there. I got a pretty decent build on it. The proc is amazing.
and
I
for
mean,
anybody, if anybody at DE is watching, don't touch it. It's fine. If people say it's overpowered, it's just because they're not used to having that Cernos be like that. It's been a weapon that's been down so much in this game, and people always looked over it. And now it's actually comparable to the Dread and the Paris.
you
It
know,
may seem like it's doing a lot of damage, but it realistically has a quick fall off point. It doesn't do great on in the void like past 30-40 minutes unless you land your headshots, which is
yeah.
the same for the other bows anyway. So it's fine. Don't touch it.
I gotta say that cosmetically, since day one, since I looked in the arsenal and I saw all the bows that were available, the Cernos was a bow that I wanted to be amazing. I wanted it to be so good, but the regular Cernos it's really not a very good bow. I mean, I know some people have good builds on it and they make it exceptional, but cosmetically, it's probably the most pleasing to the eye out of all
Mhm.
the bows, and now it has the stats to back it up. So for me, I've fallen in love.
Yeah, I personally like the new way you hold it. I like the old way where it was just straight vertical and it looked like you had spikes coming out of your shoulders, but this new off kilter is a little bit better, I think. It makes more sense. And it looks badass still, so that's another plus.
Yeah, most certainly.
So
So they dropped
they
the charge time down from like 15%, or oh no, not 15%. I don't know what I'm talking about. The reload speed is like uh,
Oh,
0.6
the draw.
seconds. Yeah, it's the draw. That's what it
The
is.
draw, yeah, they dropped it from 1 second draw time to 0.3, which is really the thing that it needed because it is an impact weapon. Impact is not that great, uh, especially on a bow. So dropping the draw time on it, where you can add more damage mods, really helps it even out with the Daiku, the Dread, and the Paris. It's now a very comparable weapon, whereas before it was just it's an early game weapon. You don't use it on anything past like level 50.
Right. All right, and last but not least, we have the
The
Penta,
Penta.
the Secura Penta. Go ahead, Bob.
it's more of the same, really. Like the Penta's sort of dropped off in recent times. I think I don't know about anybody else. Don't see them as much as you used to because they used to be the top tier weapon along with the Ogress.
Because everybody went to the Tonkor.
Yeah, everybody's gone to the Tonkor now, but
Yeah,
you tend not to see the Penta, and I don't know. It's got more blast damage. It's got more physical damage. It has a higher magazine. It has more ammo.
I think the main reason for the drop off in the Penta, like when I in my earlier days when I was playing the Penta, like you were saying, it was real big, and that's because we had a magazine with 230 something or 300, grenades that we could stick in it. When they nerfed it and made your magazine only fit 30, um, I think that's why everybody stopped using it pretty much, at least in my opinion. Having a 30 round clip versus 300, I don't want to spend all my time running around the map looking for ammo, but I see why they did it. I don't disagree with why DE did it because it was way OP in the beginning, and it with that lower clip, it definitely evened things out a bit. But the
Yeah.
Secura Penta, it's got the seven rounds as opposed to the
7
5.
rounds in a clip. It also carries 30 rounds in total as opposed to 20.
Right. Okay.
Which is still not huge. It
No,
means
it's
that you
not.
can fire, 4 and a bit clips.
It reminds me of the Colstar. That's got the 30 rounds. And they gave it an extra 25 base damage for blast, which
And the
Extra,
AoE.
yeah, the blast damage.
And the AoE.
And the AoE is slightly bigger as well.
yeah. I agree with you, Bob. I think it's more of the same. I think it's basically, with the exception of two grenades and 25 base damage. It's the same weapon, and it's not really worth investing formas in or time because it falls off during end game.
I mean, considering we had the dual Cestras, I was kind of expecting the Supra.
Yeah, the Super would have been really nice.
Yeah, especially
It could have used it too.
Yeah, didn't they just buff the original Supra? They
Mhm.
lowered the reload time and
double the mag and
increase
increase
the accuracy.
Increase the travel time of the ammo as well.
Yeah.
I think we've moved away from blast weapons now.
Yeah, but I mean, with the sentience coming, who knows?
Who knows? It may pick back up.
So yeah, they could throw in a whole nother curveball of modding hell with trying to go against their armor types, because currently the Oculus now is corrosive and electric, which is a very odd combination, and it's going to be a nightmare already. So
Yeah. I don't know. I think overall the 6 new syndicate weapons are a great addition to the game overall, and it gave me something to be excited about.
Mhm.
So
I'm
I mean,
fun
I'm
with
happy
them.
with it. Yeah, that most definitely.
So if we go from the new to the old, in DevStream and in the Reddit RMA, they confirmed the return of the boar.
Yes,
Wow.
the boar.
So are they taking the Wrecking Rhino pack down, or the bundle or whatever? Are they taking that down, or are they just they're going to leave that up and offer it on the market, or is it going to be a drop somewhere, or what?
I don't know if they're gonna be taking the Wrecking Rhino pack completely down. They might leave it up, but just make the boar available on the market again.
See, what I'm wondering is should I get the Wrecking Rhino pack, because I don't have the boar. It's one of the only weapons I don't have. So I'm wondering if I should get the boar, and then if they come out with something new, then then it'll count towards different mastery.
Yeah, as far as what I've heard them say on the dev streams is they're just doing visual updates, kind of tweaking it a little bit and then putting it back in. So as far as I know, it's not going to be a different weapon. They're just replacing it back into where it used to be with some updates.
Okay, so it's not going to give me extra mastery points.
I don't think it would, no.
Yeah, no, I off the top of my head, like you said, they're giving it visual tweaks because, to be honest, it needs it. It's one of the original weapons.
Looks like you 3D printed it.
Yeah, in fact, you probably could quite easily 3D print it. Which would be quite cool. But
why did they remove it in the first place?
They removed it for lore reasons. Because it's a projectile-based weapon, it was given to the Corpus, who use energy-based weapons. It was for the same reason they removed the Snipetron and replaced it with the Lanka. Except they never really replaced the boar with anything. I think the closest thing they came to was the Detron.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As an energy-based shotgun.
And yet we still have a boar prime, which makes no sense.
We still
whatsoever.
have a boar prime, yeah.
Well, not anymore, but yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's in the vault right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing I'm concerned about is whether they're going to put it back into the vault. My personal feelings are I think it is going back from what I've seen, and it's going to be a temporary return before it's being removed from the Wrecking Rhino pack and being replaced with something else. So it'll be a bit like the machete that came round.
Yeah, or the shiv.
Or well, no, because the shiv was an event weapon originally.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Whereas the machete was again removed for lore reasons. It's to say it's that trio.
I want it back, damn it. Enemies still use it, I want it.
Well, yeah. So, I think it'll be a temporary thing.
Yeah, I
Speaking
guess we'll
of-
just have to wait and see.
Yeah, another thing was that I could see causing a lot of controversy is they talked about the carrier. And it's currently being used 2 times more than any other companion, including Kubro's. And that it might possibly be getting looked at either to rebalance it in a way that made everything else a little bit more, I guess, usable in most people's eyes, or giving everything else a slight buff or alteration.
I
'Cause
don't
right
want to
now
see. Yeah, I don't want to see them nerf the carrier
Yeah.
just so people start using other Sentinels or Kubros.
It's getting to that point where it's falling into the same thing that Greedy Pull did. And Greedy Pull is being used 4 times more than any other ability in the game, even over Desecrate or Pilfering Storm or Pilfering Swarm for Hydroid, and those are both abilities that you spam. And Greedy Pull is being used 4 times more.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
something there
Well,
that's not quite right, and that's kind of the same deal that the carrier's starting to fall into.
I don't know. That's just more about people being lazy and not wanting to play the game. Whereas the carrier, it's efficiency. It's for me, it's not fun to run around the map and pick up.
Yeah.
Have to run over every individual resource to pick it up. I don't like doing that. If they buffed our pickup hitbox, then nerf the carrier, I would be okay with that. But or if they gave everybody else some kind of ability to pick up things better than what it is now. But before they nerf the carrier, I would definitely like to see the hitbox for the pickup count definitely increase, because I really can't stand. It's not me
Yeah.
being lazy. It's just it's not fun.
I wonder
It takes me out of the game.
I wonder if it would be acceptable for most people to take a range loss, but the carrier be able to store additional ammo for you. So like if it could pick up extra ammo or extra energy or whatever and store it until you need it, and then it automatically gives it to you. So you're reducing the pickup range, but you're increasing, I guess, capacity. If that would work.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's something that I guess DE is mulling over right now. So
Yeah, because technically right now it's not a carrier of any kind, it's a vacuum. It doesn't technically carry anything, so.
yeah, I mean, I could definitely see. I can understand that.
Now, you see, personally, I don't use. Well, I do use the carrier, but I try to use the other Sentinels as much as possible. Helios, Shade. I do use Shade quite a lot.
Yeah,
But I've been
and
really liking the new Sentinel, actually.
and I don't use any Sentinels whatsoever. I level up to 30 and then put them away and go back to my Kubro. So
Yeah,
I've really been enjoying the CC you get out of this new one.
it does look nice. We do have, I think it was. We
did
have
you say
one guy.
it looks nice? Because that thing is ugly.
No, I mean the weapon looks nice.
Oh,
I don't.
We
I
have.
thought you meant the Sentinel.
It has an interesting look to it.
It does.
It's 75 electric damage, isn't it?
Yeah, we have somebody in our clan, I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, who's been modding. He's been using a shotgun as his primary, so he's dumping all of his rifle mods into this thing, and it's just a monster. Like, he's up to, I think the last time I talked to him, he was up to 1600 elemental damage on the Digra. It has 100 meters of range that it can, like,
And
pick
it has
from,
a charge
so.
shot.
And it has a charged shot, so it's ridiculous. Like you could just sit there, and it's like a baby Mesa almost. It'll just kind of pick stuff off for you.
Doesn't it have a It has like a kind of a Loki or radiant disarm kind of a ability as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like a stun. as far as I've
got
seen,
a single person continuous stun whilst they're in range. Its other ability is a AoE electric proc that doesn't always stun them. You know, that electric thing?
Yeah.
It's just a radial attack, so to speak.
I leveled mine up to 30, and I played around with it a little bit. I do like it. I think that it's very useful, but I happen to be in the group that uses the carrier just because I really don't like running around picking shit up.
Yeah.
But
no.
but the the new Sentinel, it's definitely as far as damage, it would be contesting for
Yeah.
the other Sentinels.
Yeah, and at least going toward that possible rebalance, they have been thinking about putting in pack tactics for Kubros to make them extremely effective when you have multiples of them in a group.
Right, so that's basically like you bring your Kubro, I bring my Kubro,
Mhm.
Bob brings his Kubro, and when we're in a mission, like, are they going to give us like a fifth ability slot where we can
Well, they were
have
saying
our
it might.
Kubro use?
They were saying it might be like a consumable, so it would go in your gear item, and you can only carry one at a time. And it might do something like they were explaining: if you're in a raid and people are going down, you could pop it, and all your Kubros go around and revive everybody, but you could only use it once in a mission.
Oh, that would be so
Or
useful.
or
Or they go
maybe
raiding.
yeah, like a you could have basically like a wolf pack mentality where you get them all together, you pop the ability or whatever, or the consumable, and then the Kubros just go blood rage and they just go slaughter everything in the mission with you. So they just go full offensive. Or you could do something where, I mean, it's limitless what they could do for it, but basically consumables to make Kubros in a pack act and be able to do things that like one single Kubro couldn't do.
Right. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting concept, and definitely looking forward to see how it works out. I don't know if it's going to be enough to make me put down my
Yeah.
carrier and start bringing my Kubros out, take them
But
out of
yeah.
stasis.
But hell, if they make it to a point where each specific Kubro has its own type of ability, so like let's say there's a consumable for the Chessa owner gets to pop its special ability, which makes all the Kubros run around and pick everything up for you. Or maybe the Syndicat has the attack, or the Raska has the revive or restore shields, and all the Kubros get to do it or whatever for a certain period of time.
Right.
It would make it a little bit better, and I think that would work really well, where you could only use the consumable item that was fit onto the Kubro that you own because he would be the one to activate it or something. So
Yeah,
it could be really cool.
interesting. Yeah.
I think it needs sort of more of a rework of all of the companions at once.
Mhm.
So whilst, I don't know, carrier gets nerfed, everything else gets buffed at the same time, for example, so it doesn't quite feel so harsh.
Yeah, I mean, I know that whatever DE decides to do, I trust in their judgment, I guess. And that, every time they've come out with a change, a nerf or whatever, I've I love the game, so I get used to it. So I may not like it initially, and if I had more of a reason, if it was a reasonable reason to not use my carrier as much, I would accept that. You know,
Mhm.
so as long as it's a good trade off. See, right now the issue that I have is there's not enough trade off there. I don't
Yeah.
see the benefit in when my Warframe can put out so much damage and kill so many enemies in a certain period of time. I don't need all that extra damage that a Sunika Kubro would do.
Mhm.
So I have my carrier do the shit work for me.
Yeah. Though I have been playing a lot with Canadian Wolverine recently, and he uses the Helios with the detect vulnerability attribute on it. That thing's overpowered, man. It's like so useful to have a Banshee on you at all times, no matter what like squad setup you have. It's hilariously fun to use. So, I mean, you just gotta find different things with the different sentinels.
Yeah.
Got to find the right balance.
Mhm.
Speaking
So,
of which,
yeah, I was going to say, let's get into. Did you guys see the Corpus credit cape?
I did, yes. I'll be honest, it looks kind of cool. I think it's too big, or at least the top part, the collar part, is too big.
I'm up in the air on this one. I
Yeah.
until I see it in game, I from what I did see, I'm not impressed with it.
I'm
It's kind of
interested
ugly.
I'm interested in sound effects, because if that thing's made out of credits, that thing is gonna be loud as hell.
it's gonna clink, 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 clink.
Yeah, rip stealth.
It's gonna be nice for the new cloth physics.
Yeah, and if they make it reflective, like some of the Rubido armor and stuff, but more, I think it'd be really cool to see it reflecting all the light constantly.
Just paint it white and turn bloom on, and watch
Yeah.
it blinds people.
Another cosmetic thing, Trinity and possibly Frost, they were talking about Trinity's going to be probably first for the cloth rework, so they're going to fix
No
her
more
monster
lobster
tail.
tail.
Well, they didn't say that they were getting rid of it. They said they'd fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
It
okay
might-
with them just fixing it.
It might hold the same shape but move, so it has some like movement to it.
Yeah, it's not good. It's about time. Speaking of which, when are we getting Trinity Prime?
She's
Maybe I
next in
shouldn't say
she's next in seniority, because she should have been before Ash, but they had to do another male, so technically she should be next, but who the hell knows?
Yep, I guess they haven't said anything about it. Did you guys hear them say something about having a new Warframe in the dev stream coming out soon?
I didn't
Wasn't
really
this
catch.
one? It was
Yeah, it
last
was a
one,
previous
wasn't
one. Yeah,
Okay,
It
because
was-
it seemed like in this dev
brawler.
stream. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we went over it a little bit on our last podcast. It's that headless dude with all
Right.
the earth and earth abilities, kind of throwing
Okay.
rocks.
Yeah, it seemed like during the dev stream, it seemed like wasn't anything that they brought up with any
No.
interest. It was just kind
I
of
think-
they said it in passing.
I think they said they wanted to do it 17.5 and bring him out.
Yeah.
Or her.
So him or her, yeah. Technically, it should be a him because Equinox would have been her.
Well,
But
you never
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
The resurrecting charge attacks.
That's right. I'm excited. Very excited for that. I never got really to play with them too much before they took them out. I'm very excited to see them coming back in because that opens up a lot more options within combos and stuff to add your own flair, I guess.
So the
The-
charge attacks they're going to be more like how like the glaive, to throw it, you just
Yeah,
hold down the E
Yeah.
and
It's a special secondary, I guess, attack of them, like the glaive or the redeemer have.
It depends how they do them. Because were you guys around for the original charge attacks?
I saw them. I didn't get to play with them though.
Pre two. Well, the Galatine spin to win, that combo, that was originally the spinning was originally the charge attack, and there was no disadvantage to using a quick melee over a charge. So if you
Okay.
brought out your heavy weapon, charged it, because it did so much more damage, nobody bothered using the quick melees with them.
Oh, yeah.
But this was before they introduced the ability to equip a melee and use it like
Yeah.
that.
Because yeah, they said if you could still use charge attacks by holding down your melee button, that would be cool. Just to get that extra kind of different ability. They also were talking about trying to see if they can incorporate them into your combos, so you can do a combo, throw a charge attack, go right into another combo or something to kind of add a little bit more personalization or play style to it, which I think would be really cool. Be interesting with the glaive to be able to throw a combo, especially with Astral Twilight. Throw a combo, then throw the glaive, and then bring it back, and then keep going. So we'll just have to see.
What do you guys think of the multi-shot mod balance? Now, is this confirmed, or is this just something that they said they were talking about?
No, this is. I'm pretty sure this is confirmed. The thing is, multi-shot does not work as intended at the moment.
It's kind of like a coptering or a speed nova kind of issue.
A happy accident.
It was a happy accident.
For us anyways.
Yeah.
It's not happy for DE since they're taking it out. I can see a lot of uproar in this.
Well, no, because you're still going to get your DPS. You're still going to get your burst DPS, should I say?
I understand that, but look at weapons like the Coal Star, where there's 3 rounds in a clip. When I use my multi-shot mod, I shoot 3 rockets at a time. So my Coal Star, which only has 3 rounds, is now going to turn into a one-shot weapon.
Well, it's the angstrom.
It depends on how they do it, and that's what I think a lot of this. Why I'm not so much worried about it, because a lot of people are just going off of their own ideas and what they said, because they actually haven't really said too much about what they're doing in turn or how they're going about using the extra ammo. I think the best way that they could do that without having to rework a bunch of weapons is to pull the extra ammo out of your reserve. Because for options like the Vectis, the normal one, you only have 1 shot, so it would make multi-shot completely useless on the Vectis because there's only 1 round. So you have to pull it out of your reserve.
Yeah, if they're going to pull from the reserve, I think that is acceptable. Like, I would still put a V polarity on my weapons and still use multi-shot if they're taking from my reserve. If they're taking directly from my clip, I'm going to be kind of upset about that.
They also, everybody also focuses on the negatives and not the positives of their having our DPS, basically, because multi-shot gives you a ton of extra, basically doubles it. So if you can't use multi-shot, then you're using half the damage, and after they've been buffing and making everything else harder to continue on longer, it's not going to be possible with just having the DPS. So they might be doing because they are going to be reworking weapons for mastery ranks, and they got to go through every weapon for that. They might
Where's the positive in that, though?
They might be doing just base number buffs on a lot of stuff to make it where it's not going to be as good as multi-shot now, but it'll be acceptable, and then you get to have the playstyle choice of, do I want the extra damage at the cost of extra round? So basically what they want to do is take the split chamber out of being a mandatory mod and make it more of a playstyle option. So if you want more damage, you're going to pay with more ammo consumption, but you don't have to use it. It'll be acceptable to use the weapon without it. So we could see a bunch of damage curve increases where a lot of weapons just do a little bit more damage to help balance it out, and then you could use the multi-shot as an extra. So they basically become corrupted mods where you have that added extra positive effect, but you have that negative side effect to it as well, and it's your choice whether you use it or not.
Yeah, I don't know if I guess I'll just have to wait and see you know, how the final product and what they put out, because at this time I'm not too happy about it, but you know, like you said,
they haven't said what they're going to do with it yet, so they just said this is what we're doing, but we're not going to tell you what else we're doing to help balance it. So
I was filtering my way through some of the threads on the forums, and it was an interesting one that came up with the amount of damage that Warframes do compared to weapons. Because, for example, you take Miasma, right? Miasma and Bladestorm are currently the 2 highest damage-dealing abilities in the game. You're at about 14 and 19,000 damage, I think, you can get out of Bladestorm.
Mm-hmm.
I think around there, yeah.
Yeah, well, how much damage do you do with a single shot out of something like a Soma?
Not a lot.
Well, when it crits,
Yeah, probably about
it crits
1,000. Mine
1,000.
crits about 1,000. Yeah.
How many rounds a second do you throw out?
32, I think. I'd have to double check. I think it's in the
So
high 20s.
in the cast time, for example, of the two highest dealing damage weapons, even in a second, you can throw out 32,000 damage.
Oh, my mistake. I'm currently at 19.5 rounds, so not super
Okay,
fast.
but
Well,
you can see what I'm trying to say here. The damage you get out of weapons is far, far greater than
Mhm.
your frames. It's also magnitudes greater than the actual health our frames have.
now the Warframe abilities though are going through. I mean, are they accounting for armor and things like that? Shields, like Warframe abilities directly affect certain parts of the enemies.
Well,
Like look at Mag. She totally negates the corpus shields, right? She just eats through
Mhm.
them. So how many weapons do we have that ignore shields?
well, this
So
is true, but we are talking. I did take the Selma. The Selma is probably the worst example, but something like the Vectus or the Heck or these
right,
sorts of weapons are doing
I get what you're saying.
magnitudes more damage than not only our health but also our Warframe abilities,
Yeah.
which means that our enemies have to be magnitude times more difficult
Yeah.
just to be able
It's
to take the punishment.
it's gonna be weird though because they're gonna. I know from a player standpoint. I understand developer standpoint what they're trying to do, but the same reason why we have this podcast, a player's view on something is going to be vastly different to what a developer's view. I could very easily see if weapons get as big of a nerf as a lot of people think and make it quotes more equal to Warframe abilities, everybody's just gonna sit and spam abilities all day and not ever have to use weapons just
Well,
because
I'd agree
they're
with
going to
you,
be
but
more
then I'd
effective.
also look at things like weapon synergy with
Yeah,
things like Banshee's sonar. Me and you have been
yeah,
playing around with Banshee's sonar,
yeah.
and
It's just me, you, couple. There's very few people in the game that think like that. They go, "Oh, what's the easiest way to do something?" Now that I can't
yeah,
use my
no, that's true.
weapons to kill these high level enemies, I'm just gonna sit in Mesa and sit there with Peacemaker, and it's just easier. So I'm just gonna
Well,
do that.
that looks like it's going to be getting a change, possibly
Yeah.
Peacemaker in particular.
So, I
But
mean, already spammable or abused abilities are just going to become even more abused if this isn't handled correctly. And
I mean,
that's really the only thing I'm worried about is just a face roll keyboard smashing fest of abilities
Yeah,
instead of aiming and using your weapon.
but
That's
it's
their job to balance it out, and I don't know. Just my opinion that if I guess if they do it wrong, if they do the multi-shot thing wrong, they're gonna upset that balance. Like because right now I use a pretty good mix of weapons to Warframe. I use my abilities just as equally. Well, actually, a lot less than I use my weapons. I use my weapons a lot more because I find that more challenging. Um, but it's all going to come down to play style as well.
Yep.
You know,
And yeah, another thought I had was I'm kind of afraid this decision because they haven't ever mentioned it before, and we just went through a huge thing with survivals and them messing with the tables on there. I'm kind of scared that they're making this decision to help fix the survival issue, and it's not the right thing to do.
no.
Because if basically I could see it being, we're gonna take your weapon damage down enough so that you're not killing enemies as fast, so you're not getting as much personal life support drops, and then thus making survival is more frantic and difficult. But you're
From what
cutting
I've
out
seen,
you're
from
cutting
what
out
I've seen though,
anything
I know
like
it's a bit off topic. But from what I've seen is that the survival changes and tweaks that they've made, it only seems like it's affecting Uranus. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't have any other problems on any other planets for
you're
survivals, but every
you're
time I go
talking
to
for
Uranus,
solo, right?
Yeah.
For solo play, yeah.
Yeah. But anytime I go to Uranus for like Ophelia, whatnot, it's not worth staying there anymore. There's not enough enemies, and it's not stressful, to you're running around searching for enemies as opposed to having them come in and all gang up on you. I mean, I
Yeah.
enjoyed like having multitudes of enemies coming at me and me not having to scour the map for a single enemy. I mean, that's
Yeah. And I mean, going back to that Reddit on the AMA Reddit posts, I saw multiple times the devs state that 5 and out or 20 and out is lame, and they want it to people to go further, but they're changing it to make it harder to go further, and people aren't going to want to go further because it's more difficult. So it's like they want to do something that they agree with the players that you should want to go further, but they're not doing stuff to make you want to go further, able to go further.
It's
Agreed.
like, can you remember, River, I was sat with you and we were looking at the health on Eximus Gunners,
Oh yeah,
those health ones. And as Equinox, I was getting in excess of 40,000 stacks on my number 4 ability
from
from
one
a
enemy
single enemy. When you have 40,000 health
and armor.
and plus armor on a single enemy, I think there's a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
it's all stuff, like I said earlier, just DE has been a great game developer up to this point, and we're gonna have to trust that they make the right decisions on these things.
Yeah. So the other thing that I'm kind of sorta on the fence about, just depends on how they do it, but I'm very excited for is nunchucks. They showed that off in the dev stream, and those look pretty good. I'm just not sure what damage type.
How can you be on the fence about that? They're
I
amazing.
very, very much like the idea. Them being only, I don't know if it was just the dev build that they showed in the stream, but they had 45 electricity damage and that was it. And for something
I wasn't going blind when I saw that then.
No, because that I'm a little weird on, because I would think nunchucks would be impact combined with elemental and not just flat elemental damage. So I don't know,
I think they might work on that, if I'm honest. That seems like a bit.
I love the idea. I've been super excited for it. It'll probably be my main weapon, my main melee when it comes out.
Yeah, I want it.
I'm just not too sure about damage on it, honestly.
I'm hoping that it doesn't turn out to be like the Vankas. Like, I mean, because the Vankas, like, aesthetically, they're awesome freaking weapons, but the damage output on them it's pretty sad. And if they if they give us something on the nunchucks, some damage that makes you want to use them, that would be great. I mean, because they look so freaking cool, and I can't wait to use them. But I mean, I don't play the game for aesthetics alone. I play the game for I like the stats. I want to be able to be effective with what I'm using.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I could think of is to save them is being able to take that electricity damage and making them into like a corrosive weapon or a magnetic weapon or something. But it seems like one of those weapons where you need physical damage for it to work properly because it hits so damn fast.
I think.
Yeah.
The thing that I like about it is what they stand for, because apart from whips, they're the first multi-piece weapon.
Yeah.
That we have. I think the closest thing we have is a Cero, because that moves.
Yeah. Or the Anku has moving parts in it too. It unfolds.
But I do like this sort of trend of going towards slightly more complex model design, and
rather
not
than
just
a stick.
pew pew AKs.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah, I think overall, I'm very excited for the nunchucks, and we don't have to wait that long to see it either. So I think their reveal on it. I mean, they've talked about it in the past, but the reveal from the time of that they're going to put it out. It's pretty quick. There's not much time to hop on the hype train, and
I like that.
yeah, I do too. I mean, I like knowing what's going to happen down the line, but when they give me something that I'm super excited about, and then they push it out the door like it's ready to go, like that makes me real warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah, I'd
I'm
rather
like,
have a surprise. Hey, guess what? You're getting this now, instead of, well, we're kind of working on this and we'll eventually get there, but we're not sure when we'll get it done or whatever. It's just,
Like the star chart.
yeah, I want Star Chart,
like
please.
snipers, which is what
Yeah,
I've been waiting for.
sniper rework.
As you guys know, people listening won't know, I'm one of the few people in the clan with a snipetron.
Mhm.
Mainly because I do like my snipers, but they just don't work properly in the game at the moment. So
Yeah, the maps are pretty small, and I mean, I see why they don't. They're not very popular. But I guess I can't say that they're very popular because there are people out there that love to use them. But
But-
I'm looking forward to the rework, and I want to see where it goes because I'm not a big sniper person, but I don't use very many sniper rifles. But if they do it right, they may make a sniper out of me yet.
yeah,
I think the variable zoom is going to be a big thing. Being able to zoom out
that's the key.
would be so much more useful.
Because there's nothing worse than, I'll just zoom in for this one and boom, his face fills the screen. Like, yeah. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, because I think they need a bit of a damage buff as well.
Yeah.
Because they should be the one-shot kings, but at the moment that's shotguns.
Yeah, most certainly.
Or the Opticore, which is
Or the
technically
Opticore.
a rifle.
I can live with the Opticore being up there because it's a massive, great big thing. It's got a massive charge time, and it's a beam laser. It's a particle cannon. Like, it's meant to kill stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yes.
what about the we were just talking about the star chart. I heard they mentioned the Void Trader is going to be visible on the new star chart, which I think
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Glenn is the punishment officer at D, and he's the guy that's underneath like the Kickbot name and stuff in the recruiting chat. And he said he's tired of listening to people or watching people ask over and over and over and over all weekend, "Where's Baro Katir? Where's the Void Trader?" So
Yeah,
they're
5
going to be
minutes in region chat.
they're going to be adding in I guess a graphic or something to indicate where the Void Trader is at some point. And if they add a timer on like somewhere on there, maybe the top or bottom, just kind of Void Trader arrival in blank on the star chart, it would be useful as well. So you didn't have to go either to the wiki or to a relay to
That's
go
nice.
check.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the first thing that gets asked in clan chat, doesn't it? As soon as anyone
Yep.
joined. The
Oh,
Void
every
Trader
Friday.
here.
Oh yeah.
We get it here as well.
Every weekend that the Void Trader comes, it's the first thing someone says when they hop in the channel. Where's he at? Where is he? So it's kind of like the region chat in our clan, in our lobby.
Yep. It's in TeamSpeak with people talking instead of it being text. You can't really ignore it.
Right.
Well, we're soon be in clan, not in clan, in game as well, because they're improving the old VoIP.
Yes, I'm excited for that. That would help a lot.
We won't be listening to toasters anymore through.
Yeah. What are they said that they're improving the codec on it or something like that.
They've improved the codec, and actually the bitrate on the codec's better than TeamSpeak. 11 kilobits per second. It's better than the average that we use in here.
That's cool.
It depends what they also do back end with some of the other optional extras. But yeah, 11 kilobits is about the max that you can get in TeamSpeak. So it should be pretty good.
Yay, because it's annoying when you're trying to talk with your squad when we're in a different channel or something. If I'm talking to an officer about something or whatever, but I'm in mission with other people and you're talking through the in-game voice and not being able to understand what the hell they're saying because it's just all staticky.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, that's probably the number one reason I don't use the in-game comms unless I have to. You know, if somebody else is talking in the TeamSpeak channel and I don't want to talk over them, I'll use the in-game program. But it's it's really hard for them to mess that up. You know, it's pretty much as shitty as it gets right now at this point in time
Well,
for
they
in-game IP. So it's I think
yeah,
that
they said it was originally designed what 3-4 years ago, and they haven't touched it. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It's a really old system, and this is the
I
first time they're
think they said it
touching
was
it.
older than that because it's from beta way before, and they haven't touched it, and I don't think they've particularly needed to either.
But hopefully, with the VoIP improvements, more people in pubs will be using it. Yeah, because I mean, being able to just say something quick instead of stopping to type something and risking your own life going down or whatever.
Yeah,
It's so much easier just to be able to talk with somebody instead of sitting there writing out a paragraph at a time, trying to explain something to somebody if they need it. So
yeah. So I guess that's that. What about the more of the Reddit AMA stuff? What did you guys find interesting on the rest of that stuff?
to be honest, I stayed off of it most of the time. I wasn't super interested in it. It seemed like I went back and I looked at it now that everything's sorted by points, but when it was going on, it was just it felt like it was just questions that had been answered many times before in multiple different areas online.
I think that it was really cool for DE to do that, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was.
you don't
Yeah,
see a lot of game developers that are,
my
you know, as close with their community that do these kind of things.
my favorite one though that I saw was somebody asked about Prime Streamline, and they responded, "It ain't happening." So I'm so glad I don't have to listen or shouldn't have to listen to that bullshit anymore.
Yeah, it was just to troll the data miners. That's awesome. Who was that? You, Bob, that said the other day? Well, I imagine we're gonna see a Prime Streamline in the for the data miners to find out. They're gonna start trolling the data miners hardcore now.
Well, it's just like going back to that dev stream. I don't know if they're just doing it to troll or what, but if you look at Rebecca's Nyx when she's getting up off the terminal after their PvP duel, you see a tac alert that's called Get Clem, and a another alert that's for a Snipertron blueprint. So I don't know if they're just screwing with you or is that stuff eventually coming back. So knowing DE, they're probably just using their dev stream or using their dev build of the game when they do those streams just to screw with people.
Yeah.
Just on the off chance somebody catches it. So
I think the biggest thing I pulled out of the Reddit AMA is we're going to get Stalker lore in the cinematic quest that's coming in 18.
Yes, more lore, please. We didn't get to go over it last time, and I don't think we're going to do it this time as well. But I did make a lengthy post on our AOD forums about. We had a group brainstorm of after the new Nada quest came out of what the lore is, and it was the first time I've seen lore actually have every piece of information that we have kind of point in the same direction. So I'm excited to see more of the Stalker's story based on his already codex entry about witnessing what the Tenno did with the Orkin. So be interested to see his path after that.
Well, let's not give away any spoilers.
Yeah, I tried to keep it as bland as possible, but it is in the wiki, or it is in the codex already under the Stalker. So
Didn't they say something about some incubator improvements or something? What is that about?
They pulled out that the incubator upgrades are. Let's see. What was the question? The question was: are we going to see more type / more upgrades for the incubator to see the type of Kubro we're getting in stats, in stasis? And they responded with incubator upgrades are definitely in the queue. Agreed that it would be more info before you name them. We'll get it to you before the end of the year for sure. So the recent upgrade to the Kubro incubator is not the last by the looks of things.
Right. Well, you know, you should know what you should know about the Kubro before you name it. You know, I always thought that was pretty odd. Every time I've hatched a Kubro, you know, I'm not sure if it's a Sunika or I'm not sure what, you know, because I like to name my Kubros funny names, you know, and you know, like I want them fitting for what kind of Kubro it is. Like if it's a golden retriever, or not retriever, but a Chesa. You know, I'm gonna name it something that I would name a golden retriever. You know, like, but you know, the way things are now, I never understood why they didn't put that in to begin with, and I don't think that you should have to upgrade to stuff like that. I mean, that should be a given right from the get go.
Well,
and as
whether it is
somebody
a given or it
who's
isn't.
yeah, and as somebody who loves using Kubros, just as it's, I guess, in the game, it's a living, breathing thing that it's just like in game, it's just like a real life pet. So you get attached to it over time. It sucks having to, if you're looking for a specific breed of Kubro, to name it immediately and then immediately after have to get rid of it. It's like
Right.
getting puppies and then naming them all, getting attached, and then immediately selling them off. It's like, what? I had to do that like 10 times to get a Chesa, and it's like, god damn it, I gotta name it and then fucking see what it is and then get rid of it. It's like, god, just tell me what the hell it is first.
Yeah, I think I incubated like eight Kubros in a row, you know, trying to get my Chesa, and after the first one, I just started naming the Kubro the same exact thing until I got my Chesa, and I would, like you said, I would just immediately consign it. I was doing the imprints at first, but then I just wanted the Chesa, so I ended up just naming everything the same, you know, until I got my Chesa. But I don't know. Hopefully, we see something. You know, I hope it doesn't take till the new year for that to happen. But I guess we'll have to wait and see again.
Another good one I saw on the AMA just recently was how the star chart is going to affect the void.
It's the end, isn't it?
Yeah. And I am actually excited for that because I am so goddamn tired of that place.
Don't
The
get me
only
wrong,
place I ever go anymore.
I don't
the
know.
tile set is nice.
Yeah,
It is
I'm
nice.
on the fence on that. Like I'm me and the void. We have a love-hate relationship, especially since I've spent like, you know, the past 2 weeks trying to get, you know, doing T3Ds over and over and over, trying to get that Ash Prime blueprint, which I finally got, by the way.
After 300 keys,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
all the
tired
way
of
40.
it. I'm tired of it, but I also I like the void. But they did say that the maps or the tile sets are still going to be available to us in some way, right?
Well, they said it's going to be the end of the void as we know it.
So they
I'm assuming
could be
with the release
changing.
I assume with the release of the moon, we're going to get another place similar to the derelict, except more voidy. So we're going to have a spread, either a change in the way that the void drops are handled, or we're just going to have a more concentration on each mission of what drops.
I'd be, just to touch on that moon a little bit, maybe spread an idea, but I'd love to see a new enemy type for the moon base since it was a Orican settlement, or supposed to be, I guess, that was abandoned or just kind of destroyed. I would love to see some sort of Orican type enemy, be it in a physical form or just something different than what we have in the Void now, which is just corrupt Grineer, corrupt Corpus. I would like to see something more Orcan related. Either,
Right.
I mean, not to go super cheesy, but Orcan ghosts at somehow, or Orcan holograms or whatever, or something. More stuff, just a different faction to fight against.
Well, we
Maybe
got the
even
sentience coming
sentience.
out.
Yeah, maybe even
So, I mean,
sentience took control of that. I don't know. I'd just like to see something different other than just the normal what we have just thrown in there somewhere else.
Right.
I think that's about it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty much covers a lot of the major points. There's a lot of little stuff that changed, but
There's always a lot of little points that change.
they were talking about fourth starter frame, possibly. On
They
the
were-
forums. Yeah, on
It
the
was-
forums.
Yeah, it was a discussion amongst a few people on the forums about a fourth starter frame. It's not something I'd particularly thought about, but I think it might be a good addition.
So this is
I think-
nothing that's from DE. This is just
It's-
conversations on the forums that we're
It's just a
trying to
conversation
bring
on the
to-
forum, yeah.
Okay.
But
Uh,
currently we have 2 males and 1 female starter frame, for example. It was mentioned that the fact that we don't have more options for females is turning people off because they want a bit more freedom. In which case, who do you add as a fourth starter frame who's female?
Banshee.
Banshee would be my go-to as well, but you'd either have Banshee or Ember, really.
I would
But-
prefer Banshee just because she's different. It's a completely different play style than any of the other starter frames at the moment.
Yeah, but Banshee, I think you need an advanced playstyle to understand Banshee. Like if Banshee was your starter frame and you didn't understand, she's more crowd control. I mean, when you're
Mhm.
starting off, you need them,
Yeah.
them quick kills. I think Ember would be. This is just my opinion, but I think Ember would be a better starter frame just because she does more damage. She's not crowd controlly like Banshee is.
Well, it's
And-
I think me and Bob were talking about this before. Banshee would be a good frame because, I mean, we have Volt, Volt, Excalibur, and Mag. They're all three. Volt's a little bit utility, not so much offensive, but they're all offensive based frames where Banshee would fit in really nice as being a support. I mean,
Well, they did
how
that
many
with
other games?
Loki.
Yeah.
And that's why they took Loki out, is because too many people were, logging in for the first time and not understanding how to play
Yeah.
Loki. And
The-
Loki is definitely an advanced frame.
The official reason why they took Loki out is because during that starting the tutorial, you have to be able to kill something with your Warframe abilities because you're given no weapons.
Mhm.
Which is why a lot of the frames don't work. Like Nyx would be a bit of a yeah. But
Do you start with 3 abilities?
you start with 1. You have to be able to kill something with your
yeah.
first ability, which is quite a limiting factor. I think the
So they
conclusion
would
we
have to
came
be in
to was you'd have to either be Banshee, possibly Nyx, not necessarily the best playstyle, or
What is
Ember.
Banshee's first ability?
It's that
Sonic,
sound.
the Soundquake.
It's that
No, Soundquake
AoE
is the
in front of
fourth
you.
one, isn't it?
Soundquake
yeah.
is the big AoE. The Sonic Boom is the.
Yeah, and
It
that just-
pushes
that
out
just
stuff in front
pushes
of you.
them. It doesn't kill them. It just pushes them.
But it does do damage, and it would do enough damage for the quest. I think the conclusion I came to was, what types of frames have we got? We've got DPS, 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 basically. They're all heavy on their abilities doing damage. Well, why haven't we got a tank?
Rhino would be a good one.
But
Though he's male.
Rhino is he's like the
But he's one
newbie
of the first
frame
ones that you
anyways.
get.
Yeah, he's like
so
he's the one that all the guys that just start playing Warframe get first and run around with.
So why don't we have a female tank, a female version of Rhino? It would require a new frame to be introduced.
Well, look at this
but-
brawler frame that we're getting soon.
I think it's going to
Could
be
be it.
DPS though. It's going to be
But-
kind of like. I expect it to be kind of similar to Valkyr in a way.
But at the same time, I think we do need almost a dedicated tank female. Because it would slot in there almost perfectly. Because the tanky frames at the moment for females, they're Siren, Mesa, if you mod her right, and Valkyr. All of them are pretty complex, and none of them you could put in that quest.
And none of them, or Valkyr's the only mainstream tank build. Everybody else for Saren or Mesa goes efficiency damage and not tank.
Exactly, they're built as casters. So I think we now need a tank-based female frame to slot in. But that was just something that came up on the side, I think. And what I'll do is, with this podcast, I'll post a link so other people can go have a look at it and see what they think. Because I think it is an interesting idea that hasn't really been touched on. So
yeah, if you guys, if anybody that's listening to this has like some suggestions, what I'd like to do is, at the end of our show, just have, a topic that you guys bring up to us, and we can talk about it. This whole podcast is supposed to be, from the player's perspective. So if you guys have any questions, or you'd like to hear us discuss something, just head over to our forums and comment, and we'd love to talk about it.
I think that's a good place to wrap this up.
Sounds like.
So from everyone here, thank you for listening, and we hope you join us for the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.
See you.